Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today it's going to be a match between SpeCial and Solar. Here on Disco Bloodbath, the latter edition, bottom right hand corner, it is the red Zerg player from Triumphant Song Gaming. It is Solar. Yeah, I didn't know what TSG stood for either until just a minute ago, but it is Triumphant Song Gaming. And he's hailing from Korea. And in the top left, from Mexico, it is the blue Terran player, SpeCial, from Ocean Gaming. That is the organization that he's a part of right now, and seems like players switch organizations fairly frequently these days, ever since the collapse of Kespa, so... Anyway, a ZVT here from a Wardy replay pack. If you don't know who Wardy is, he has a YouTube channel, he has a Twitch channel. I'll put both of those in the description. Go there, say hi to him, say Falcon Paladin sent ya, okay? Alrighty then, hatch first here from Solar at 16 supply, 18 extractor, and 17 spawning pool. Solar. Yep, that is the standard. And there we go, barracks first here, gas at a time where you can get a Reaper, and Alright, by the time you see this, well, this is going to be a Patreon game, so by the time you see this, either the WCS Global Finals will just be over, or they will be over for like 5 weeks. Alright, so at this point, I don't think this is any kind of a spoiler, but man, SpeCial fought really, really hard in Group A of the WCS Global Finals, man. Ugh, he took a game off of Sue, a very, very long ZVT match, guys. An exceptionally long ZVT with battle cruisers and infestors and vipers and all sorts of great stuff, and SpeCial won it. He's such a boss. So good, but at the end of the day, Sue came out, Dark came out, SpeCial and Showtime did not make it, but there were some seriously good 3-2 games in there that I felt so much pride in the foreigners for doing as well as they did in that Group A. As I'm casting this, actually, Group B is happening. It's Time and Maru that are playing. Somebody actually from Pig's Discord channel or Discord server said they would donate me $50 if Time made it out of the group, and Time is up 2-1 on Morrow right now in that first match of a best of 5. So that's hilarious. Anyway, Reaper's name is Winnie the Pooh. One day, Winnie decided to take a trip to China, but was accused of looking like Supreme Leader Xi. He was immediately arrested for his hideous crimes and sent to the Reaper program. Yeah, if you don't know what that's talking about, just search, I guess, Winnie the Pooh in China, and you'll know what's happening. Anyway, Reaper trying to do some stuff. Does see the third base coming up from Solar, sub 3 minutes, as is tradition. And I mean, really, macro is just, it's so safe to do. Somebody made the point, actually, in a question on the Pylon show, which if you don't watch that, you probably should. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, the Pylon show, every week. I think it's on Wednesdays. It's either Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I get them mixed up. My days just blend together, guys. And also keeping schedules. I don't know, man. I go to work, I come home, I play with the kids, make them dinner, put them to bed, help them with their homework, etc., then cast StarCraft and go to bed. So it's kind of my life. But I guess sometimes I stream on Twitch and sometimes I do podcasts. I'm a very busy person. But what I'm trying to say here is, I was trying to say something. What was it, Falcon? Oh, yeah. So somebody asked a question in the Pylon Show's patron-only chat, which is kind of awesome. You can ask questions if you're a patron of the Pylon Show. And somebody was like, look, when they started when they started the game, when they made the patch change, where you start with 12 workers, it made expanding very safe. When you started with 5 or 6 workers, expanding early was not very safe. Right? Because you waited a long time before you could get that up. And if there was a proxy or something, or somebody went gateway first, or pool first, then holding it was really, really hard. Expanding early was a large risk, but now expanding early is basically no different from going pool first, or gateway first, or 2 gateways first, and it's just a lot easier to hold. So anyway, SpeCial coming in here with Hellions and a Reaper named Winnie the Pooh, etc., etc. There's an armory coming up. Is there a fusion core on the way? No, there's not, so no battle cruisers here. Anyway, SpeCial here qualified for the WCS Global Finals at BlizzCon, and Solar didn't. So technically, some people would say that SpeCial is better than Solar. I don't know if that's necessarily fair, as Lings are here to deal with this drop, and do a pretty good job of it, too. That's a good number of Lings. They have upgrades. They do not have any attack upgrades or armor upgrades, interestingly enough. But it is technically easier to get into BlizzCon and the WCS Global Finals if you come in, come in through the WCS circuit rather than the GSL. So, I mean, Solar, honestly, probably the rankings here are just as good as Specials are. If not a little bit better. I'd say Solar is probably favored in this match according to a Ligulac, but man, like I said, Special took a game off of Sue. Took a game off of Dark too, I believe, if I looked at the... Yeah, he did. He definitely took at least one game off of Dark. So, I mean, Special playing really, really well here in TVZ especially. Hellbat transformation done because that armory is complete. And the Lings really don't want a part of this unless they have a good number, and they do. Ooh, and the medevac goes down too, and the Hellions die. Hellbats are out. All right, man, so that was a pretty good hold from Solar. That was really well done. Lost some Zerglings, but definitely worth it in the end. Got that Overlord speed. He's been scouting around, seeing what is up. Double Engineering Bay coming in, so it looks like it is going to be a bio transition here from Special. Loving that. Loving a good bio transition out of Special. I am not kidding around here. Cruising on in right now. We got the Hellions. The Lings are trying to get that wraparound. Coming on to Creep is so dangerous. Losing a couple Hellions there, but not all of them, which is the big deal. Keeping those alive is really important for just messing with this creep spread and putting pressure on Solar and not just letting him macro his face off and make 100 drones at once. He needs to make some Lings to do with these Hellions at the very least. He's got a Spire on the way, and if this is a Mutalisk play, I will be surprised. It seems Corruptors are just much better in the current meta. There are just too many things in the Terran arsenal that can kill Mutalisks extremely well. We have our Marines, we have our Thors, we have our Liberators to some extent. Missile turrets are really good too. Widow Mines, fantastic. All of those things, not as good against Corruptors. And sure, Corruptors can pick off tanks and pick off Thors and things that Corruptors can't actually kill. But in the end, it's much better to have the Corruptors staying alive if you can't perfectly babysit them every second. Because that's the problem with the Mutas is, if you don't perfectly babysit them every second, they'll die to something. They'll fly over a group of Marines or 2 Widow Mines will wipe them out, and you're just like, ugh. That was like 1,000 gas, man. It's like 1,000 gas I just lost. Pretty good control here from Special, but he does lose. Ooh, is he going to lose all of them? He's going to lose most of them at the very least. One Hellion might very well escape with his life and a few kills to tell his buddies about back home if he can make it home. It is going to be Mutalisks. Okay, so Solar says, screw you, Falcon Paladin. I am making Mutalisks. You can shut up with this Corruptor talk. All right, man, I hear you, Solar. You don't have to be so aggressive, but let's see you win this. Let's see you win this thing with your Mutalisks. Special, does he have an answer for this? I mean, he's making 1 million Marines and Widow Mines, so sure, he's going to be just fine. Also throwing up a factory. You don't need a ton of Thors against this. Really, just 1 Thor with your group of Marines and tanks is going to be just fine against Mutas. But having 2 or 3 Thors also not bad either. Especially against this number of, Banelings. They can absorb a ton of Baneling hits without dying. Zerglings do pretty well against them. Because Zerglings keep chomping against those Thors and hitting them pretty hard. And there's a large surface area for the Thors to have a lot of Zerglings surrounding them. Generally how that works. Zergling area of surround is really important stuff. Hey, the turrets are late. Well, that's a problem. If your turrets are late, the Mutas are going to get stuff done, which is problematic. Lings and Baneling trying to get us surround. Oh! That was a big Baneling hit. I don't think it killed many Marines. Only 2 Marines are dead from those double medevacs. Widow Mines firing on Zerglings that are trying to take down the Widow Mines. We don't see Drilling Claws in production here at all. Baneling's actually exploding on the Widow Mines. Not a good trade there for Solar either, interestingly enough. So, Special does have a 4th base, whereas Solar's 5th base is, 4th base rather, is up and running now. So what we're looking at here is a situation where Special is keeping up economically. He's got 69 to 79, or 71 workers rather. Solar is not that far ahead. He's only 2 ahead. Drilling Claws getting started, working on more Widow Mines here. I'd love to see a Thor just get started. I'd love the Marauder play too. Marauder's really good at absorbing those Baneling shots. Really bad against Mutalisks, as it turns out. But anyway, there's a bunker here and a missile turret. It's not a full bunker, but it's a decent, 2 Marines in a bunker is pretty scary as is, especially if they have +1 attack. And they're working on +2/+2. Meanwhile, +2/+2 on the way for the Zerglings and the Banelings on an odd and +1 flyer coming in at the same time here. So I'd say Solar is in a pretty good position, but Special's economy is humming pretty well. Gotta say, he's looking pretty good for a Terran player in this situation. That 2/2 is going to be great. Again, I'm surprised he doesn't actually have any Thors coming out here to deal with those Mutalisks, but we'll keep an eye on that production tab. Ah, just as I say that, he starts one. Okay. So we do have Thors coming in. I'd remind him 2 or 3 times, but we got there. we got there in the end. But yeah, if you're watching this, you know, the week of, well, the week of Halloween in the U.S., last week of October, then thank you for being a patron of the channel. If you want to see stuff like this a month before anybody else does, then go ahead and hit me up at patreon.com/FalconPaladin for $1 a month, and you can get access to these too. At least $1 a month. That's all it takes. Mutas, with their +1 attack, cruising up this left way, and there are a good number of Marines here, and a medevac, or rather, a missile turret. I don't see that's working out super well. There actually aren't any medevacs over here, surprisingly enough, and the turret's not going to finish either. These Mutalisks say that's a lot of Mutalisks too. This is a lot of resources into these Mutalisks, and I'm not convinced that's what you want. Zerglings, though, fighting a group of Marines. Solar just getting some minor victories here. He's maxed out. SpeCial's maxed out at 10 minutes. Overlord's down. Overlord down. And Widowmine exploding on a large group of Zerglings there. Overseer allows the pickup, even though it has been permanently cloaked, thanks to the Drilling Claws upgrade. Another Thor on the way. As I said, you don't really need to double pump or triple pump Thors. Single pumping them seems to be just fine, although the Muta count's a little bit high. There are 18 Mutas out. We are not talking a handful. Also, the other thing about Corruptors, you can turn them into Broodlords. Mutalisks can't do that. Although back in Brood War, did you know that Mutalisks did turn into Guardians and Devourers and Tier 3 units? It was pretty cool. Definitely not the case anymore, but we got engagements going on both sides of the map. The Muta's laying waste to SpeCial's third base, which seems like a problem for SpeCial. He's got a big old scary army at the front here. And then you can kind of chase these Mutas off with just a handful of Marines and a Widowmine, honestly. It's not even that hard. So now he has to spend resources on Corruptors to turn them into Broodlords. Once the Spire is done, a bunch of Lings in production. That 2-2 is complete. Adrenal Glands is coming in now. And I don't know, this is kind of stalematey at the moment. I mean, I think Solar has done more damage economically and whatnot. That Thor, man, 5 kills on him, killing creep tumors like a boss, just one-shotting them. Ba-boom. Well, 2-shotting them, but he has 2 attacks. Chunk, Lings and Mutas flying on up into the third base. That Thor is in so much trouble against these Zerglings. Ah, the 2-2 Lings having a great time. Widowmine does fire. Wet control by Solar. They're not losing his whole group of Lings. And they're still alive to cause problems, although Planetary Fortress does not care about your Zerglings and will shut them down for sure. Ultralisk Cavern on the way, and there are 4 Corruptors coming in too. So Solar can't really decide what he wants to do economically. He does have a 5th base, and he's got a 6th base coming in the bottom left here too. SpeCial's kind of been on these 4 for a while, but he is landing a 5th base, or trying to land a 5th base at the 12 o'clock position. Muta's flying about. So we are looking at a really nice game right now. We are moving in to a fantastic late game with these 2 players. We'll see how it works out. 8 more Corruptors in production. Solar's going Ling, Baneling, Corruptor, some Mutalisk. Zerglings exploding all over the place. And, Baneling's exploding on Widowmines. Again, I think the Widowmines are okay with that. Right, if they had a big old shot into a group of Banelings, they take that. The big old group of Banelings exploding on them also seems fine. Banelings off creep. I'm not sure about this, honestly. Are those Changelings or are those Marines? Those are Marines. Widowmine's exploding on in here. 192 to 151. This push has been a little bit damaging for SpeCial. He's going to lose that tank. He's rolling Marines out here. Target firing the Banelings pretty effectively. The Mutas are in a lot of trouble. But this third base is going down again. A large number of SCVs have gone down in this game. We're looking at 26 to only 5 drones killed thus far. And sure, SpeCial stabilizes. But he's down 50 supply to Solar. And Solar is working on more Banelings. Is he actually making Broodlords? It seems like a pretty good thing to do against this largely bio force. I don't see any Vikings, nor are there any Vikings in production. There we go. 7 Broodlords coming at you right here in the middle of the map on the creep. And I think this just might be it for SpeCial. Again, he does have the 5th base, which is great for him. And something is killing Widowmine drop. All right, so 14-minute Widowmine drop here from SpeCial. Everything gets cleaned up, but 13 drones go down. So, all right, SpeCial has a worker lead. He's fully saturated his 3rd base again. His 5th base is starting to get muled up, which is nice. But as I mentioned before, there are no Vikings at all, actually. So there's no answer to these Broodlords. That's a really heavy Marauder composition, too, which cannot shoot up. And SpeCial might just be like, oh. Now he starts Vikings. Viking production is on the way. But the Broodlords are chasing out. I don't think SpeCial can save this third base at all. Broodlords are slow, yes. But if they just set up on your base, there's really nowhere for them to go at all. Marine drop at Solar 6 base in the bottom left does shut it down. Enjoying that quite extensively. The remaining Corruptors are going to go after this orbital command. Just kidding. The Mutalisks are going to do that because there are no remaining Corruptors, but the base is out. At the very least, it is lifted. We'll see if it gets saved. I don't think there's anything over here to save it. Yeah, the Mutas are going to take that down quite effectively, pushing in with the Broodlords up to the 12 o'clock position. And man, SpeCial just got absolutely caught with his pants down today. He did not see he didn't make Vikings. He didn't know the Broodlords existed until it was too late. He's trying to make a bit of a counterattack over here. He does kill a couple more drones, stop all mining here at the 4th base, and dropping at the 5th base too. So I mean, SpeCial doing what Terran does, be really annoying, but it's basically a base race type scenario right now. And there's just too much stuff here for Solar. His army supply is 126 to 92. He's losing medevacs all over the place. He's losing Marines. This group is still alive, which is really nice to see. And honestly, I kind of feel like a group of Bio, if they just stemmed right underneath these Broodlords, they'd kill them. Vikings are here to fight at the same time. Corruptor Mutalisk count is not super high. But boy, 22 SCVs down there. Remember what I said? SpeCial had a higher worker count than Solar did a couple of minutes ago? He did. But at this moment, it is definitely in favor of Solar. And here comes the roll in. We got Lings, and there's your GG. Solar is your winner. SpeCial taps out here in 16.5 minutes. And boy, I mean, I don't... Well, let's go ahead and disable that. There we go. I don't... Feels really simplistic for me just to say, well, SpeCial just didn't see the Broodlords coming until it was too late. But, I mean, that's what we got. That's exactly what happened. He just did not expect Broodlords after all the Mutalisks that were out on the field. And to be fair, yeah, it was kind of weird to transition. Because, again, you made the Mutalisks. They're expensive. Great. They do some things fantastic. But now you got to make Corruptors and turn them into Broodlords. All that costs so much stuff, but Solar had the economy to do it. He had the Ling Baneling ground army to handle it, and the Mutas at the same time. So he just won engagement after engagement. He, again, did lose a ton of stuff here. 300 Lings went down, 12 Mutalisks, which is 1,200 gas, 23 Banelings. He did lose 2 hatches. So, I mean, SpeCial definitely doing some damage on the other side, but 2 planetary fortresses and an orbital command, 50 SCVs, and the Vikings that came out just couldn't do enough at the end of the day. SpeCial is not prepared for that T3 stuff when the time came, which, again, really out of character for SpeCial here, and I'm just confused is all I'm trying to say right now. That's amazing. That is some incredible stuff. All right, well, at the end of the day, 21,000 resources lost for Solar and 22,000 for SpeCial, which is bad. Usually, if you're the Terran player, you want to lose fewer resources than your Zerg opponent. You can win games, honestly, if you are even, but if you're ahead and you have more resources lost, it's really hard to win versus a Zerg player for sure. So Solar doing a great job at the end of time. At the end of the day, we were looking at a pretty decent Zerg army. The Broodlords really weren't even touched. A couple of Viking splashes hit them. Not even splash, just regular attacks. Single target attacks hit them, but they couldn't get close enough. They just didn't have the numbers to do so. So pretty fun game at the end of the day there. Solar really showing what he's all about. And at the end of the day, that's going to be it from me. So this has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch. /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.